G'day folks, I'm Mitchell Dale and this is Rugby League Week's Friday Arvo Footy. Right, it's been 27,867 days since the Rabbitohs and the Roosters last played in a finals
Didn't
game.
know he could count that high.
I reckon it's going to be worth the wait.
Nice stat, buddy.
Thanks. I went back through every calendar.
Yeah.
Checked
How
it
many
out.
minutes is that? Yeah, not so tough now, mate. I reckon this is going to be, well, it's only 2 games, but this for me is just an absolute belter. What a war.
It's a game of the year. It's got to
Yeah,
be.
it's the war. It's going to be a war. I'm lucky I get to be on the sideline just watching it real closely, get to feel all the hits. And
So you were part of the Roosters squad for a while.
Yeah.
What is the feeling with the players when they come up against the Rabbitohs? I mean, it's a really big thing for the fans and the media.
Yeah.
They love it. What about within the squad? Do you guys like sort of lobbing grenades into the other bunker?
Everybody plays it down. It's just the Australian way, I think, to not want to do that boxing type lead up to a fight, you know, where they're saying, I'm going to knock you out and all that stuff. But at training, believe me, the players are thinking that they want to just pretty much assault the other team with points. So, yeah, as much as they're going to play it down, I'd love to see teams just rip into each other before a game and build it up. It'd be awesome, but it's just not the Australian way. But, mate, going to be a cracker, very close one. I'm going to have to tip the Roosters, I think. Bunnies scare me because they're just freaks and they've had a week to freshen up, which is good in this era of football. But I just think the Roosters have. I think there's a little bit of a cloud hanging over the Bunnies with this game and getting knocked out and just.
Well, that's the point that we make in Rugby League Week this week. If they do lose this game, and this is something you can talk about as well, they'll join only Parramatta in 98, 99 and 2000 as a team to lose 3 preliminary finals in 3 years. Now, Parramatta, admittedly, they were able to bounce back from that, make the grand final the year after that, but it's got to have a bit of a psychological effect.
Look, if the Bunnies blew away the Roosters, it would not surprise me, but I don't think that's going to happen. They've got the players to do that, and I think they can, you know, that hoodoo thing's only a hoodoo when it keeps happening, and that's why it gets called a hoodoo, obviously, but I think they've got the potential to blow that away. But if it does happen, it can play on your mind, it can, and it did for us for a little while until we actually got to the GF, and now that I just think about that all the time, losing that game. Thanks for bringing it up.
The interesting thing, boys, they did play a few weeks ago, and of course the Roosters just jumped. South got out by 20-odd points. Now, they didn't have Adam Reynolds in that game. Johnny Sutton had to play in the halves. We caught up with Johnny Sutton this week. He's obviously out in the back row now, running wide, and ran amok against Manly, I thought. So he just talked about having the right guys in the halves and how they think they can take control of the game there.
Yeah, I think okay, after that Roosters game, we come out and said, you know, my game wasn't up to scratch. Our kicking game wasn't up to scratch. You know, I wasn't building enough pressure, and I thought against Manly, you know, we did that to a T. I think, you know, when Adam came back and took control of our kicking game, you know, we looked really good. Yeah, I think so. I think Adam and Luca gelled really well together. They're playing with a lot of energy, and you can just tell on the field they're enjoying their football.
Yeah, it's certainly the right mix. Again, throwing to the magazine, Michael Maguire was talking about this has been the plan the whole year. It's not been Sutton at lock and Reynolds and Keary in the halves. It's been Sutton as a wider running back row. I mean, when he got named there a few weeks ago, we all thought he's probably just going to play off the bench or as a lock, but he's actually playing in that typical fringe running, and he's going great games. I think the other big point to make is the kicking game. That's what Adam Reynolds really does excel at.
Well, it's big of Sutto to admit that he isn't the man to kick for the Bunnies. I think that's a massive thing, you know, with ego and pride and all that kind of thing. He just said, mate, I'm not the man for the job. We've got the right man there now. It's just so hard to pick. Like, honestly, I'm tipping the Roosters, but how the hell do you pick against a team with some freaks like South?
Yeah, interestingly that you talk about ego and pride. Another bloke whose ego and pride probably has been damaged a bit the past few weeks is Anthony Minicello. A couple of crucial errors in the past few weeks. Now, we caught up with him earlier this week. See what he has to say about that.
I always mark myself hard. That's what I've done my whole career, you know. I always set high standards on myself, and, you know, no one's perfect. Everyone makes mistakes, but you got to learn from it and move on and make sure that you put the work in at training, which I have this week.
Yeah, very hard marker on himself. You played a lot of footy with him.
Hard mark on himself, but no way in the world is he letting a bit of paper talk and a couple of mistakes ruin his pond. This still his pond this week. He'll be fine, mate. He'll be fine. He's a champion, and that's why he's been playing as long as he has at the top. And that's why he's...
Roosters record for him as well.
Yeah, mate, he's fine. He's fine. It's just, yeah, they're trying to make a bit of a story out of it, mate. No better player to bounce back from that.
Okay.
It's interesting you talk about, boys, the ego or lack of ego with Johnny Sutton. I think another thing worth noting at South, Nathan Merritt obviously retired this week. again, no sign of ego, no sign. I mean, Alex Johnson came in quite early in the year and it has been unbelievable, the speed, the amount of tries he scored. But Nathan Merritt, another guy that just handles it all well. You don't worry about yourself. I think their culture there at South Sydney is fantastic at the moment. As Maguire said, a lot of these guys, weren't even this 43-year thing. Of course, it's there. As he said the other day, he wasn't even born then. The biggest worry, I think, though, is a lot of these guys have been in this team for the last 3 years. They might be young, but, Adam Reynolds 2 years ago got injured. Last year they got run down by Manly. It has to play on your mind. Whereas the Roosters last year ran through the finals. They know what it takes, and I reckon they can get home, the Roosters, for me.
I think there are three big sort of psychological factors here. One is the 43-year wait for South. The second is their recent preliminary final form. And the third one is obviously they're playing their arch rivals and the hated rivals, the Roosters.
Yeah, it's just hard not to listen to all that paper talk. Like, you're just seeing it all the time. And, even if you don't read the papers, people are asking you questions about it. Oh, do you have a hoodoo?
Three people like us sitting here talking
Yeah,
about
well, it kind of, if you're a bit of a thinker, and a lot of the halves and the playmakers obviously are thinkers, you're going to think about that a little bit. But I don't think, once you're on the field, that goes all out the window. It's just in the lead-up, which could maybe hinder your performance.
Expel a bit of nervous energy as
well.
well.
Yeah, exactly. But no, I don't think, mate, I can't wait for this game. Honestly, it's going to be a builder.
And you're saying the Roosters?
I'm saying the Roosters. I don't know. Any team that makes this grand final and wins it, mate, I would not be shocked at all. And I don't think anyone will be. Everyone thinks they're experts and they know. But I'm just tipping the Roosters, Panthers grand final.
All right, Leno?
Roosters in this one.
Roosters? Yeah, I'm going to stick with the Roosters as well. Stick with you boys. I just think they're probably a bit better prepared for a game like this than the Rabbitohs. So that's the only way that I can split it. Anyway, we're going to find out in just a few hours. Okay, Encouragement Award this week, and here's a tip. It goes to some scumbags, Eric.
Yeah, a couple of grubs. This is going to the thieves that broke into my car and stole Michael Gordon's 4 playing jerseys. His official playing jerseys, one-offs. You can't sell them. You're not going to get any money for them. Just give them back, please. Please just give them back. I'm sending this boot to you so you can insert it yourselves, because if we find you, we're going to put it in the hard way, all right? So I'm sending this. You do it yourselves and hand the jerseys
Straight up the bum.
Yep.
You don't give them back, boys.
Sounds a bit unpleasant. Anyway, that's it for us. Thank you for joining us, boys. Thank you for joining us. Enjoy the game tonight. That's it from us from Rugby League Week's Friday Arvo Footy.